We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, and 1410 KERI.
You know, Michael, this is Clay, and we just read recently about a situation back in Texas where one gentleman took care of one of these molesters the way it needs to be taken care of.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, that's what those molesters do.
Yeah.
Well, molesting his 4-year-old daughter, he caught him in the barn. He went in there and beat this molester to death.
Oh, yeah, and good for him.
Look how much money it saved us and how much time it saved us and kept us from getting a molester released and back on the streets to do it again.
Absolutely, because they will do it again. They don't stop. This is what they do.
Well, let's change the subject a little bit.
Let's talk about the state of California, how they're molesting us.
Before we do that, what are you doing now, Mike? Every time I talk to you, you're running around different parts of the country. What are you into right now?
Well, I speak. I mean, I'm on the speakers bureau, Premier Speakers Bureau, books me all over the world actually speaking. And I've been doing that for quite a few years, at different events and what have you. So I do that, and also, in the last year we started Reagan.com as an email service provider. So you might hear some of the ads at some of the radio stations that we're doing, because the reality of it is if you're conservative and you have an AOL email account or you have a Gmail email service, 75 to 100% of the money those people send to Washington, D.C. for political causes goes to Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, and Barack Obama. So simply by having what you think is a free email, they're taking your name, bundling it up, selling it between $400 and $600, and then the political money that goes to Washington goes against everything you believe in. So we started Reagan.com as an email service. It's $40 for the year. It's private. We don't sell your information to anybody, any place, anytime. And you have a Reagan.com email address, so it's kind of cool. And we started that about a year ago. Been advertising now on I think Russia's show for about 3 months, and so we're doing that. That's one thing that we're doing, and the other thing we're doing in the state of California. I was working with Shannon, Grove. Everybody knows about trying to get a ballot measure to take our state back to a part-time legislature, because this state's broken. It is busted. It is broken. And it needs to be changed. And, up until 1967, it was a part-time legislature. There's 41 states that have part-time legislature. But it's interesting that we had 400,000 signatures, Marty. We need 800,000, which would not be hard to get, except it takes money to get there. And it was about $2 per person per signature. And the problem is you can't raise money in the state of California. And I'm talking to corporations and businesses in the state who support what Shannon and I are doing. And the answer back to me is this: we'd love to support you. We'd love to give you money. However, our fear is if we give you money and the state finds out that we have given you money to take it back to a part-time legislature, then we will be punished by our own state legislators.
Isn't that amazing? But not surprising. I read something in the LA Times last week. Have you guys suspended the
we have suspended it. We will reactivate it for 2014. Probably right after the election, we'll reactivate it. You have 150 days after you get the approval of the Secretary of State to get the 807,000 signatures. But we're going to go out and start raising money. But I have to raise the money outside the state of California to be able to do something inside the state of California. Because, like I said, the businesses and corporations here, for the most part, are scared to death of putting money into it for fear of the retaliation by their own state legislators. I mean, we're living in a time where people doing business here are more fearful of their government than anybody else.
But Mike, all you've suspended is the money gathering end of it, or the paid signatures, right? Is what you've suspended.
Yeah, they have to be paid signatures,
right?
And the signatures aren't the tough thing. It's getting the money to pay for the signatures, which is the toughest.
Right. We're having a conversation with Michael Reagan on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.
Mike, there's another proposition we need to strongly support, and that's the one that says that corporations and unions can't donate to political parties. That's coming up at this election. Yeah,
well, that'd be great. It's going to be interesting to see if that passes. I'm also interested to see if the ballot measure passes to raise our taxes. I mean, when you think that our state legislators right now are thinking of trying to balance the budget on the backs of hoping that we pay that we vote to raise our taxes, that's scary.
Well, especially when you consider the exodus to the state of California.
Oh, yeah, you got 5 businesses a week leaving the state of California. People aren't moving here to open up businesses. They're doing nothing in Sacramento to create a business-friendly atmosphere. I mean, if they want to bring more money into the state, figure out a way to bring businesses back into the state, which brings people back into the state that ultimately pay taxes to help take care of all those things.
And lower the
But they
tax
don't.
rate. Let's lower the tax rate. That would help also.
Oh, lower the tax rate? Yeah, but what do? They talk about increasing the tax rate. You know, increasing the tax rate does not grow the economy. It never has grown the economy.
Mike, going back to that part-time legislature initiative for a moment, I was reading something else, and they were talking about people that supported the change from part-time to full-time. Did your dad at one time support the change from a part-time to a full-time?
Yeah, my dad actually supported Proposition 1A,
1A,
which
that's
took
right.
it from full-time to part-time.
You mean part-time to full-time?
As he told me later on in life, it was a mistake. He should have left it part-time. And so my idea is to take it back to part-time, which it was up until 1967.
Yeah, which it should be. So the initiative itself isn't suspended yet. It's just the money gathering end of it as far as getting paid signatures, right?
What we have to do is suspend it, re-qualify it. You know, with the Secretary of State, you didn't lose all the signatures, and you'll have to go back and get those signatures redone. But you're going to have to raise the money. We're going to have to raise the money on the front end to get all the signatures done, and I'm going to have to raise that outside of the state instead of inside. You can get small donations inside the state, $5,000, $10,000, $100, $200, which is great, and that helps. But you got to raise about $2 million to get the 800,000 signatures that you need. Figure it's about $2 a signature, and then you're going to have a fallout from doubling up on names and so on and so forth. So you have about a 20% fallout, which brings you back to 800,000 signatures, which is what you need to qualify for the ballot in 2014 in the governor's race.
So you already started this process once. Does this mean that you'll have to start the whole process over again?
Yeah, we'll have to start the whole process over, but now we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot that, you know, no businesses in the state really have the guts to stand up to the state legislators, that you're going to have to go outside the state to raise the money to help the state of California. I mean, in fact, the state of California is incapable of helping itself.
Well, nobody wants to get audited.
You're right. Nobody wants to get audited. You know, everybody wants to get their piece of the rock and what have you. And ultimately, we all suffer.
And they don't want OSHA or CARB or any of these other organizations coming into their business. And as you pointed out, if they do donate, that's what's going to happen.
That's right.
It's a little scary when you're, you know, when people can't express, or businesses can't express their feelings because they're the fear of intimidation. I mean, that doesn't sound like America.
No, it doesn't. It sounds more like Germany, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Hey, what are your feelings on the election we had last week?
Wisconsin.
I think last week, the big thing out of the election last week was, of course, Wisconsin, what happened in Wisconsin, but really what happened in San Jose and San Diego. San Jose and San Diego got it, they understand it, and they came out and said to the unions, excuse us, but we can't do this anymore. You're going to have to now throw money into your own pension funds. We can't support it 100% anymore. I think that's huge. San Jose is not a conservative bastion. So for them to do it, San Diego isn't that conservative. And for them to also follow suit, 70% in San Jose, 66% in San Diego, I think it's huge. And, of course, what happened in Wisconsin is even bigger, because that means that governors throughout the country won't feel intimidated if they go up against the unions. They'll feel now that they have a support system.
Well, we're looking right here in Bakersfield where the police union is now filing a lawsuit against the city of Bakersfield because of the changes they made in the pension. So it's not going to get any easier.
Oh, no, it doesn't get easier, but you got to stay the fight. Remember, you know, the problem with conservatives sometimes, we think elections are the end point, and liberals see it as a beginning. We cannot let up.
No, the liberals will take it back to the voters over and over and over again. An example of that was the marriage situation.
Oh, yeah, and it's a never-ending story. That's why we have to be vigilant every day. I think of the other side like termites eating away at the foundations of your home, except they're eating away at the foundation of this country every day. Our job is to tent them.
Yeah, definitely. Mike, we got to talk to you again when we get closer to November and start looking at reactivating this thing all over again, because I agree with you. We just have to keep coming back and doing it right and learning each time and getting to the point where we're going to make it stick, because California could not support a full-time legislature. I mean, it's a joke.
You're right. You're absolutely right. When they get $48,000 a year in per diem, tax-free, I wish I got paid that kind of money. Hey, thanks for checking in.
Hey, Mike, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it, Marty. Bye-bye.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.